Welcome to the channel and welcome to this 2000 point match play game between Death Guard and the Sisters of Battle. So today on the channel, my Death Guard warband, known as the End of All Things, are trying to spread the sickness and contaminate this ancient ruin, this holy site, and the Order of our Martyred Lady are trying to push them back. Where once there were green fields and saints walked across this holy landscape, now there is only dust and ruin. But this ruin here is still holy, it's still a shrine of consecrated power. And the Order of a Martyred Lady do not want the Death Guard overrunning it. We are playing Overrun. That's one of the missions in the 2021 chapter approved book. It's standard deployment on that side of the battle grid and this side of the battle grid. There's 3 objectives here. There's 3 objectives there. There's 6 in total. We don't know who's deploying on which table edge yet. The battle mat is from a company that's gone bust. These are rocky terrain that you can see is from Gamemat.eu, and the ruins and the holy statues that you can see are from marchofwar.com. And they're lovely. Really big fan of these. James from March of War also does lots of other resin things and bases like that, so check him out. Match play, 2000 points. Today, I'm bringing my tournament practice list, Winter's tournament practice. What's happening is, in November, at the end of the year, I'm going along to the No Retreat Legends tournament, and I'm going to meet up with lots of YouTube and Instagram legends like Kirioth and Tabletop Tactics, Tabletop Titans, Play on Tabletop, Mini Wargaming Dave. And rising to the challenge today is Captain Smashy Pants. Say hi, Captain Smashy Pants.
Hi, Captain Smashy Pants.
This is, obviously that's not your real name. That's your name in the Discord. You're part of the Scottish crew.
Indeed.
In the Discord. You've been on Deployment Zone before, but this is your first time on YouTube. Tell us about the Scottish crew.
We've got a wee group in the Discord. We're looking for more members because we always want more people, and there's no better place to be than in the DZ Discord.
Oh, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the deploymentzone.tv Discord, DM Captain Smashy Pants and let him know you're up there, because I think there's like 6 of you in the group at the moment, meeting up with each other and getting games on and stuff like that. If you want to join the deploymentzone.tv Discord, then consider subscribing to deploymentzone.tv, where you unlock lots of videos and podcasts. There's a lot of collaborators in there now. Play on Tabletop, Gin Vessel, Den of Imagination, lots of people in there right now. But it also unlocks the general threads in the Discord, and then you can DM Captain Smashy Pants if you're in the Scotland area. If you become a patron to deploymentzone.tv, then it unlocks the whole of the Discord. See, the Deployment Zone is not just extra videos from me, it is a growing community. We've done 3 DZ days so far, which are free events. There is the 100 player event at Firestorm Games in Cardiff in November. There's the Deployment Zone narrative event, 2-day narrative event in December, which I'm not allowed to talk about yet, so don't mention that. And I do know of 2 more events that are happening in January, another event happening in February, which I'm definitely not allowed to talk about. So the Deployment Zone is more than just videos, and it's more than just a way to support me. It is also a growing and thriving community where there's events and things happening. We're bringing the 40k world together. That's the plan anyway. I mean, I'm loving it. All these community members coming together. Is it working, this thing?
Absolutely, yes, because it's better to be a gateway than a gatekeeper, isn't it?
It's better to be a gateway than a gatekeeper, absolutely. And that's what we're trying to do in the Deployment Zone. In the meantime, though, tournament practice time.
Yes.
Which means you have the opportunity to win one of my exclusive Oath of Moments, not available in any store. You can only take this out of my cold dead hands if you beat my tournament practice list. This is also made by marchofwar.com that did all the scenery here. Thank you, marchofwar.com. Actually, I think it's marchofwar.co.uk. But yeah, the idea is to practice match play, to try the nastiest lists I can. Now, I'm not saying that this Death Guard list will be the list that I bring to No Retreat Legends, because I've also got a Death Watch list. Have you seen any of the Death Watch fights in the deployment zone?
Yes.
That's going quite well as well. Anything with death in it, I'm happy with. So I'm not saying this is the one that's going to No Retreat Legends, but it is a nasty list. Shall we take a look? Let's take a look. And here it is. This is actually the same list that I brought against Vanguard Tactics. That was the first time I played with the list, and it did really well. And I've had the opportunity to play with it a dozen times since then, so I'm really beginning to flesh it out. But I haven't thrown it against sisters yet so far. So the way it works is these are the inexorable. So that unlocks a strat, which means it's a 1 CP strat and it's -2 to charges. If someone deep strikes in, instead of them having that 9-inch charge or a rerollable charge or whatever the buffs that they might have to come flying in, it's -2 to charge by popping that strat, and it's got Mortarion in it. Mortarion has got Arch Contaminator, the Living Plague. I've also given him the Gloaming Warlord trait, because you pick a Warlord trait. Living Plague turns off auras within 3 inches of him. The Gloaming means that while you're within contagion range, which is 9 inches of him, you can't reroll hits and reroll wounds. So within 9 inches, no reroll hits or wounds. Within 3 inches, no auras as well. And he's got a 5-up shrug. He's got Disgustingly Resilient. He's got Arch Contaminator for rerolling hits with plague weapons. And he knows 2 psychic powers and can deny 3. Not that denial will be coming in here, but they're offensive psychic power. Curse of the Leper and Gift of Contagion. Spent the Warlord trait on him. The Gloaming, the Relic, however, goes on the Foul Blightspawn, who's got Viscous Death Relic. It's pretty much an auto-include if you're going competitive with Death Guard. It's a 6-inch aura, and it means you can't fight first. Enemy units can't fight first. Combine that with his natural 3-inch aura, which he points at a unit and says, you fight last after everything else fought. He can be quite nasty, and upgrade his Spurty gun with the Viscous Death. So it's a D6 auto hitting gun, but the Viscous Death means you can re-roll that D6. And it gets it to strength 8 -3, 2 damage. So re-roll the number of shots, give him the Warlord trait, 85 points for all of that shenanigans. Job's a good one. And then I've got a Malignant Plaguecaster, Delirium the Corruptor. He's coming along, and he's my buffing character. He's got Miasma Pestilence and Putrescent Vitality. He's the buffer. And then I did have Polos in this list, but now I've got Golos, because the other one of the Brothers Grimms is no longer with us. Due to the campaign that's running in the deployment zone. He got perma-killed. He got absolutely killed. So the Brothers Grimm are no longer the Brothers Grimm. There is one left, and he's very angry to have lost his brother after the last 10,000 years of fighting. I've given him the Warlord trait Hulking Physique. So on a 1, 2, 3, 4, he ignores any wounds, and he gets an extra toughness. Basically, he's got transhuman physiology and an extra wound. So what's going on here is Mortarion throws himself forward and turns off auras and rerolls and things like that. You've got a character buffing stuff behind him. He'll be deep striking in at some point, and he's a nice late game troublemaker, running around causing havoc. And then you've got the Foul Blightspawn, who moves up with 10 Terminators. 10 Terminators, 2 flails, and 2 blight launchers in there. And that's a nasty rock to crack. The original tournament list that I was running with the Death Guard had lots of Poxwalkers in it, but it wasn't working because it just wasn't working. One, they can get taken out quite easily, and if you put them in squads of over 10, then blast weapons were just nuking them off the table. So instead now I've got 2 units of 5 Plague Marines. The captains are upgraded, the Plague Champions are upgraded. Not upgraded, sorry, no upgrades on the Plague Champions. But there is a flail in each of these squads. Now I know a Blight Launcher would be better in each of these squads, because the idea is that they hang back and engage on all fronts, or raise banners, or Octarius Data, or all the things that you need them to do. So you want them shooting after they've done that job. But I've given them both flails because I like flails and I like punching stuff, and I've put them into rhinos so that they can move around. Then the only real long-range Daka in the list is 2 of the tanks with Entropy Cannons. These things are good. They're, again, pretty much an auto-include in any Death Guard list. So what you've got here is 2 big rocks that you essentially, the enemy, have to take down. Otherwise, they will dominate the battlefield. But once these rocks are gone, the Terminators and Mortarion, the list can still score while it's running around all over the place and doing other things, but minimal scoring. Really, this list relies on going big and getting in amongst the enemy lines and doing some damage. And it also has some options for the secondaries with little... Because the other thing, Poxwalkers, they can spread the sickness, but they can't raise banners or retrieve Octarius data or do any other actions, but these guys can. So, yeah, that's how the list functions. We'll talk about secondary objectives when we get into the game. Let's go and have a look at the Sisters. This is 2,000 points of Adeptus Sororitas. I think I said it correctly. Sisters of Battle. It's a double battalion, so you've already spent 3 CP.
Yep.
And I have to mention, it is gloriously painted by Den of Imagination Painting Studio. So as the camera sweeps over this awesomeness, you can see exactly what Den of Imagination can do. And what they can do is work magic with a paintbrush. Okay, Captain Smashy Pants, talk us through our Order of our Martyred Lady and all the things that Sisters do. I do know some things. They have a 6-up invulnerable save, yes. And on a 6, they can deny psychic powers. Yep. Just shut down psychic powers like that.
Quite handy today, hopefully.
Yes. So what we got?
We've got a double battalion, as you said.
Yes.
The first battalion is led by the Priest.
Okay.
Definitely not Thaddeus. Definitely not Thaddeus at all.
Okay.
He's just doing his thing. He's got +1 attack and effectively smite as the Warhammer.
And he's like a chaplain, right?
Kinda, yeah. 3 up, there's nothing as yet that can modify him, but he's quite handy if I need to put poke somewhere.
Okay.
That is Canoness Smashy Pants, and she is an absolute evil beatstick.
Why is she an evil beatstick?
She's blessed, so she can give herself D3 wounds back a turn.
Okay.
That costs you 20 points. She's got the Relic Blade of Sacrifice, which means she can take 1 or 2 mortal wounds.
Yes.
And then her attacks, when they're successful, become that amount of mortal wounds.
So if she takes a mortal wound, her attacks then become mortal wounds. So if she gets 6 attacks through, there's 6 mortal wounds through if they hit and wound. If she takes 2 mortal wounds, then that's a damage 2 weapon.
2 mortal wounds.
2 mortal wound weapons. So if she does like 5 wounds, that'll be 10 damage. And because she's blessed, she's healing D3 wounds a turn anyway.
And to be thoroughly evil, as it is tournament practice, I've paid 1 CP to give her an additional Warlord trait, which is Martyr's Strength. For each time she loses a wound, she gets +1 strength and attack.
Each time she loses a wound?
Yes. Which she can choose to do.
Which she can choose to do. So she could get up to an incredible amount of attacks, and each of them doing 1, 2, or 3 mortal wounds potentially. It's probably worth mentioning the Order of her Martyred Lady, as soon as they lose a model from a squad, they get +1 to hit as well.
Correct, yes.
So kill one of these ladies and they're hitting on 2s.
Yeah.
But the Sacred Rite you've picked is what now?
It's called the Passion, and it means in melee, any unmodified hit roll of a 6 is 1 additional hit. Okay.
So on her, she's got 6s exploding as well.
Yes.
Nice.
The only one that doesn't benefit from the Sacred Rites is Ephrael, Stern and Kygonel.
Okay.
But they've got their own crazy shenanigans of a sword that doesn't allow invulnerable saves. He makes you fight first, and he is her bodyguard for a 5-up feel no pain.
1 minute. It doesn't, no invulnerable saves?
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, they've got a smite, which isn't a smite, it happens in the shooting phase.
Exactly.
But it's basically like smite. Yeah. Okay. Who's this lady here?
She's just a random Canoness.
Random?
Yes. she's the HQ tax, but if she performs well, she will get a name.
Okay. Canonesses, of course, reroll hit rolls of 1. They're like captains.
Yes, they are.
So they've also got the reroll. So you've got 1 running forward being Smashy.
Yes.
And 1 staying back providing all the rerolls, presumably.
Yep.
Are these 2 here to run interference? Is that what they're here to do?
Run interference, and they can webway strike. That's literally what it's called, because he's a dodgy space elf.
He's a dodgy space elf. They can literally webway strike. Brilliant.
Yes.
You've also got a Hospitaller with you. which is your version of an apothecary, and for a strat you can put D3 models back in.
D3 models, yes, and normally within 3 she can do D3 wounds back. So
nice.
Quite helpful.
Does she give a 6-up shrug as well?
She does, yes.
So 6-up shrug puts D3 wounds back in, and there's that strat to put models back in. Normally most apothecaries only put 1 model back in, but your models are tiny compared to, like, I don't know, a 50 wound outrider or something.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, what else we got?
We've got 3 normal squads of ladies, each one with a heavy bolter.
Okay.
Not optimal against Death Guard, but it's an all-comers tournament list.
Yes.
We're going to have 2 of those squads in the Rhino with Hunter Killer and Stormbolter.
Hunter Killer?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've got it modelled on anything. That's the first time I've actually seen a HK modelled on a Rhino forever.
Yeah.
Well done.
It's got to be done, because if it works, it's brilliant. If it doesn't, it's only 5 points.
Yeah.
We've then also got a Melta Immolator.
Okay.
It won't be blown up with that strat, but hopefully the multi-melters will be doing quite a lot of work.
Okay. The reason why heavy bolters are a bit of a meh is because they're damage 2 guns.
Yeah.
And Death Guard ignore 1 damage. So damage 2 becomes damage 1, damage D6 becomes D6 -1. However, these are AP -1.
Exactly.
And they are strength 5, so they'll be winning me on 4s instead of wounding on 5s because I'm toughness 5. So there is some utility there. Okay, cool. What else we got?
We've got 2 mortifiers at the back.
Yes.
Better versions of Penitent engines. They are models as anchorites, but that's just because I like them, anchorites being like a sergeant.
Okay.
So 5 wounds of absolute hellish evilness, flailing and hitting and flaming.
Yeah, those flails give you extra attacks, right?
Yes.
So lots of attacks, and they've got heavy flamers.
Yep, and because they're angry, trapped in a coffin for their sins, they're re-rolling hits when they were charged, or heroically intervened.
Okay, so re-rolling hits with a lot of attacks.
Yes.
Okay, what else we got?
We've got our 3 normal squads of sisters there.
Okay, in the 2nd Battalion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a couple of simulacrums, which allows me to use my miracle dice.
Oh yeah, miracle dice are a thing now. So it's 1 phase, but Order of a Martyred Lady is... there's different ways to get miracle dice.
Yes.
One of the ways to get miracle dice is when your characters die, you get a miracle dice.
Yep.
But with Order of a Martyred Lady, if anything dies at the end of that phase, you gain a miracle dice. So in the psychic phase, if a unit dies, you get a miracle dice.
Yep.
In my shooting phase, if something dies, you get a miracle dice. In my fight phase, if something dies, you get not a model, a unit.
Yep.
So it's a way of getting more miracle dice. And miracle dice are a way of spiking dice rolls.
Yeah.
Like it's a miracle.
Indeed. They're you can use them for quite a few things. It's basically free CP, but you know exactly what your dice roll is going to be, which is quite handy for myself.
Yes.
Very handy to use on those retributors, which are multi-melters.
Is that 4 multi-melters?
Yes.
Can they still move and shoot without penalty?
No, not anymore.
But there's an order which can do that.
Yes.
But not our Martyred Lady.
Yeah, that would just be a bit too much for our Martyred Lady.
Okay. And there's 2...
Morium cherubs.
To re-roll multi-melters so you can fire them again. So 4 multi-melters, that's 8 shots. And using one of the cherubs, that would be 10 shots?
Yep. Okay,
I can see which unit the Hospitaller might be standing next to.
Yes, just a little bit.
Right, you brought one of the new tanks.
Yes, that's the only thing in the army that's not painted by Den of Imagination.
Okay.
One of the lovely gents in the Discord, Mech Priest Studios, painted that up.
Nice.
As you can see, perfect job. So
nice.
We managed to take New Model Syndrome off of it 2 nights ago, so hopefully it'll do its work.
Did it do badly on the first?
No, it made a lot of his admech go away very quickly.
Did it?
Yes. So
it's got triple heavy bolters plus the big cannon of doom on top. So
exactly.
for New Model Syndrome, it broke the curse already.
It did break the curse.
Is this the day then that New Model Syndrome kicks in?
Oh yeah, probably. Okay. To back that up, that's obviously that's got 2 types of fire. It can do basically anti-tank and anti-troop.
Yeah.
And then we've got 2 exorcists.
2 exorcists.
Both with the exorcist missiles, so the stronger ones.
If you're a sister, never leave home without them.
Yep.
Yeah, 3d3 shots, strength, d6 damage a time.
Yep.
Still.
-2, strength 8. So once I've finished with Mortarion and your tanks, then I can start taking
Once you're
chunks.
finished with Mortarion and my tank. So you've got quite a bit of long-range firepower here, along with the HK. The rest of the army is pretty much 24-inch range or shorter and wants to get up close and in the grill. However, you've got lots of scoring options. There's 6 units of 5 ladies running around all over the place. We've got these coming out of a webway being a pain in the butt. We've got her doing mortal wounds in close combat, Mrs. Smashy Pants just getting absolutely fruity. We've got miracle dice, ways to spike the miracle dice and ways to gain more miracle dice. And you've got a 6-up invulnerable save and a 6-up ignore psychic powers, shut down psychic powers. Has this list been working well for you?
Yeah, it's got about a 75% success rate. The only thing it didn't do well against was against Leading Zero's Death Guard. But that was the first time we used it. And I've learned things.
And you've learned things. So it's doing well, except against Death Guard. However, you are improving all the time. That's the point of doing the match play practice stuff.
Exactly.
Essentially, what I'm trying to do here is, I'm not trying to beat you. What I'm trying to do is learn how to play my list as best as I can against sisters. And you're learning to play your list as best as you can against Death Guard. It's about using the tools that you have in front of you to the best of your ability. Not really about beating the opponent.
True.
And if you come away from it and you've learned something and you've played the list to your best of your ability, but learning something as well, then that's the best kind of practice game out there.
That's exactly it, yeah.
Nice. Shall we go on to deployment? And here we are after deployment. I've put a tank and the Terminators out on this flank here. The Poxwalker's in the middle with Mortarion. He's making his presence felt already. And then both of the Rhinos over this flank here. The one with the Nurgling on top have got my 2 characters inside as well. Now, the way this works is you get 5 points for each primary. 10 points for 2 primaries, and then 15 points if you have 2 primaries and more than your opponent. And what I'm trying to do in my secondaries is spread the sickness. So I want to contaminate every single one of these objectives. But you also have Sacred Grounds, which is basically, I'm trying to spread sickness on these objectives and you're trying to sanctify them.
Yes, exactly.
You're trying to turn them to the light of the Emperor. It's interesting, actually, because I could spread the sickness on that one and you could sanctify it at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like a mini battle, meta battle, happening as the sickness is spreading and the ground is getting sanctified at the same time. So I'm trying to spread the sickness as well as score the primaries. I'm also going to try and engage on all fronts and assassinate your characters because you have many of them. So I'm spreading out, killing your stuff, and engaging. And Golos, my Lord of Contagion, is in Deep Strike Reserve, so he could drop in here, for example, for my engage points, because you're on this objective here with a group of little ladies, this objective here with another group, because you also want to engage on all fronts as well. So you're sanctifying, engaging on all fronts, but you took the mission-specific one, which is called Overrun.
Yes.
And at the end of your command phase, if you get on any of the objectives in my territory, in my half, you get 2 points. And 2 of them is worth 3 points, and all 3 of them is worth 5.
I don't see 5 happening, but you never know with 2.
But you're coming right for me.
Exactly.
You need to get down in my half to get those overrun points. So not only do you want to sanctify them, you want to get them too, and the primaries, and engaging. In the middle, there's 5 ladies in that one as well. In the middle, there's a lot of stuff. We have Exorcist, and what's the new tank called?
Castigator.
The Castigator. And there's 10 ladies inside that one.
2 squads here.
And then your rock is here. Here is the, what are they called? The ones with the big guns. Retributors. They're all the multi-melters. There's your Hospitaller. There is Lady Smashy Pants herself. She's got 5 ladies with her, the Mortifiers, all the characters down here, basically, in a front and central location right below the ruined and ancient sacred sanctuary. There's going to be a push in the middle. There's going to be gunfire coming out right and left, and the sisters want to roll across this battlefield, burning and purging as they go. Have you got anything in reserve?
Yes, just Kaiganol and Ephriel Stern.
Kaiganol and Ephiol?
Ephriel Stern.
Okay, so they're in a web base somewhere and they're going
Yeah.
to be appearing. Golos is going to be appearing as well. So minimal units in reserve here. First turn could be very brutal.
Yes.
So we need to roll off to see who's got it.
Yes.
I have green dice today, available from the deploymentzone.tv merchandise page, because I'm playing Death Guard, so the green ones. And you've got purple. Lovely. Oh,
Okay.
also available from the deploymentzone.tv merchandise page.
Purple ladies.
Purple ladies. Would you like to roll first? You are the guest. And you roll a 6. And I roll a 5. Close but no cigar. It will be the sisters. Turn 1. Right, command phase actions. What happens is you roll a miracle dice at the start of the first battle round, and you roll a 6. These dice are available from the Den of Imagination website. So that 6 becomes any dice roll that you roll, you can automatically make a 6, for example, for those that don't know. Very, very handy for damage, or for advancing, or for charging.
Charge, yeah.
Or even, for example, a 6 will automatically deny a psychic power.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a great roll to start off with. So the Order of Her Martyred Lady has the drop on the end of all things. This unit down here is completing the Sacred Grounds action. So at the end of your next command phase, if they're still there, this objective marker is consecrated. The way it works is they're worth 4 points so long as they're not in your deployment zone. This is the only one in your deployment zone that will be worth 1 point. But if they're still there in your command phase, that's a 4-point objective. Right there. Done. And then we have the Rhino with the 10 ladies pushing forward, the Immolator with the 5 ladies pushing forward, and not much moving in the centre, waiting to see the Death Guard blink. Ruins completely block line of sight, but Mortarion has got 18 wounds or more, or an aircraft. Things with 18 wounds or more, or an aircraft, cannot be completely obscured by ruins, so you can see him. Trees will give minuses to hit because when you shoot through or shoot into them, and they'll also slow people down, as well as some of the obstacles slowing people down. Of course, the Death Guard will not get slowed down because we are inexorable. So moving forward, on the right flank, staying relatively static in the middle flank, consecrating this objective down here, and ready to unleash a barrage, a fusillade, into the Death Guard lines. We're starting on this flank, the Immolator firing its 2 multi-mortals into the Plague Burst Crawler, hitting on 3s. And 2 hits. It's strength 8 versus toughness 8, so force to wound. Negative. No wounds. The demonic hide stands firm.
Heavy bolter.
Oh, you got heavy bolter. Yes, heavy bolter. 3s and 5s. And nothing. Nothing at all. Interesting, no damage caused down here. What are we doing next?
We're going to hammer Mortarion.
I like it. So where are we starting?
We'll start with this exorcist.
Okay.
We'll put everything into the match.
Everything.
Yes.
Brilliant. So is it 3d6 shots?
3d3, because it's the nasty missiles.
Isn't there a stratagem you can do to...
That's ignore line of sight now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right then. So number of shots with the missiles, and that's 7 shots. Okay, 3s to hit. 4 hits. These are strength 8 missiles?
Yep.
And toughness 8. He's a tough old... Ooh.
Yep.
3 wounds. 4 up invulnerable saves. Each of these doing d6 damage, right?
Yes.
Okay. I failed 2. I think I have to command point one of them. I failed 1. D6 damage coming through into Mortarion.
Definitely not using the ones that rolled 6s.
Yeah. And that's a 2, which becomes a 1 because of disgustingly resilient, and I can shrug on a 5. And the first tank does no wounds to him. Then the heavy bolter fired through and did no damage to him. We're on to Exorcist number 2. Rinse and repeat. Here's the number of shots. Are you keeping that 6 over there for damage?
Maybe.
You could have? Okay, right. That's a lot of shots. 3s to hit. Wow. Everything hit. 4s to wound. Okay, that turned it around. That's 5 wounds, each doing d6 damage. 5, 4 up and vulnerable save. Are you going to one-shot Mortarion in turn 1? It hasn't happened before. And considering that I just failed 4 times, it might happen now. So causing 6 damage with one of the miracle dice. Here's the other 3. I made one of the saves. Okay, so that 12 becomes a 10. And 14 damage coming through.
Yep.
Right, let's see how many he can shrug on 5s. OMG, he shrugged 8 of them. That's 6 damage. He's on 12 wounds remaining. Then the heavy bolter came through and took another wound off of him. He's down to 11 left. Now we're on to the castigator using a sanctified shell.
Yep.
Okay.
D6 number of shots.
Okay, 4 shots. Nice. This will hit on a 3. 2 hits. What does the sanctified shell do?
Strength 9.
Strength
minus
9.
3
Okay.
damage.
So wounding on 3s. It wounds once. Minus 3. So 4 up and vulnerable save. And make the save. How many damage would have that been?
3.
3 damage. 2. Yeah, okay. But there is 9 heavy bolter shots raining into him as well, because you're putting everything into Mortarion, which hit on 3s. Can you plink another wound off? 5s to wound. 2 5s there. 2 4 up invulnerable saves. And then shrugging them. Okay, shrugging 1 more. He's on 10 wounds remaining. Okay, what else we got?
We're going to do the Rhino and put the single-use hunter-killer into Mortarion, hopefully.
Okay, nice. 3s to hit. And 3s to wound. Strength 10 now.
Strength 10.
Okay, so that was 5. What are you thinking about combining it? Because it is D6 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? We will.
You will? Picking another dice there. And it wounds. And he needs a 4. And I'd fail the 4. D6 damage coming up. Another 4, which becomes 3. I need 5s to shrug. I shrug 1 of them. He's down to 8 wounds remaining. Then the Stormbolters just bounced. Now we have the Retributors. The Retributors. The ladies with all the melter guns. The multi-melters. They're firing straight through here. At Mortarion. This might sting.
Hopefully.
4s to hit because you moved. And 4s to wound. 2 wounds. 2 4 up invulnerable saves. Make 1 fail 1. D6 damage. You're not in melter range.
Correct.
So I need to shrug them. I shrug only 1. He takes 3 more damage. He's down to 5 left. Are you reloading with an Armorium Cherub?
Yes.
So we have a reload and 2 more multi-melter shots coming out. And 1 of them hits. And it wounds. He's got 5 wounds left. And I fail that save. D6 damage. For 4 damage. Which become 3 damage. And he shrugs 1 of them and he's on 3 wounds remaining. And I think that's it for your long range powerful fire.
Yeah.
And I have to say that is the most brutal volley of fire that Mortarion has taken in the first turn ever.
That's him pretty down as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he's really nerfed now. His weapon skill stays the same, but his attacks drop and his movement drops. The other thing is, if I hadn't spent that CP, he would be dead.
Yes.
So perfect use of a command point there.
Indeed.
There is a bit of bolter fire places. Is there bolter fire places that can reach out? Let's check. Let's make sure. Yes, that is the end of the shooting phase with Mortarion bleeding ichor and pus. That is the end of the sisters in turn 1. They haven't scored any points yet. So let's find out what the Death Guard do in turn 1. Here we are at the end of the Death Guard movement phase. All very simple, really. The Terminators moving forward to take benefit of that cover there, the barricade with the tank behind. The Poxwalkers are spreading the sickness. At the end of the turn this happens, but I'll do it now. They'll take D3 mortal wounds, which I can shrug on a 6, which I don't shrug. 1 of them dies, and that objective is contaminated. That's 3 points there, a bit like your one over there. Yeah. You're sanctifying, I'm making things sick and sickly. Mortarion can only move 8. That will be a 9-inch charge into the mortifiers because he's so injured, and he's down to 5 attacks now. Inside the Rhino, I got these units out. There's my Malignant Playcaster. There's the Spurty dude, the Foul Blight Spawn with the Spurty Cannon of Death. Because he's in the terrain piece, he can fire through it now. Those multi-melter Retributors need to die. The Rhino's moving up the table. I've kept the unit still in this one here. The idea is to charge these vehicles. Because then I'll be engaging, but it's also a good bit of move blocking going on there. And talking about killing the multi-melter Retributors, I've even pushed the tank round so I can get all the shots that I need down into them. However, we've got to start off with the psychic phase. Delirium the Corruptor is going to cast Miasma of Pestilence on Mortarion to try and keep him alive. I need a 6. And that isn't a 6. So let's CP reroll that. And that is a 6. He is now a -1 to hit. Okay, Captain Smashy Banch is spending a CP on
Purity of Faith.
which does...
Gives me a 4-up chance of making a deny.
Okay, good luck. You do deny. I spent a CP to get it off. You spent a CP to stop it. So he isn't -1 to hit. His other one is that he can do is Putrescent Vitality. I'll chuck it out on that unit there because I'd rather they didn't die, and that fails. We're coming across to Mortarion. I'm going to Gift of Contagion. I'm going to give you a Nurgly gift on the Mortifiers. Let's see what I get. And that's a 7. They're -1 strength now, unless you deny on a 6. And you do deny it, so that's been denied as well. If you get 8 or more, it gives them -1 attack as well. So that didn't work. He's also got Curse of the Leper and Smite. Curse of the Leper hits the closest thing. They're toughness 5, so it won't help me. So let's just Smite. And that fails. Okay, so the psychic phase is a complete bust. I shouldn't have put my foot in this sacred temple. Let's rely on the normal stuff, like shooting guns and things. So Mortarion is going to open up by firing the pistol of silence down into those ladies. And it's not silence, it's the lantern, and he hits on a 2. That's a 1. Okay, this is going really well. Let's start. Okay, so the Spurty Thing of Doom. We're going to do the Spurty Thing of Doom, the Viscous Death. I need to spend a CP to increase its range from 6 inches to 18 inches. And I'm going to spurt on them. And it's D6 hits with a Viscous Death. 6, right, finally. This is strength 8 now, so I will wound you on 2s, and it's a plague weapon. I can reroll 1s, and that's -3, 2 damage each. So you need to roll 6 6s here to keep the Retributors alive. And you roll 1 of them, and each of these is 2 damage, and the Hospitaller is nearby, right?
Yep.
So the first one, dead.
Nice.
Second one, dead. Third one, deaded. Fourth one, dead. Because 1 dead.
Yep.
I cleared the squad.
Just
Cleared the squad, just about. But at the end of the phase, you'll get a miracle dice. Let's roll it now. And you get a 1, which is okay for morale.
Yeah, useful for morale.
But yeah, it doesn't matter how many units I kill at the end of the phase,
Yep.
you get a miracle dice.
Yes.
So yeah, we thought we'd do it now to show you guys what's what. Right, the Plague Marines. No real good shots here, so we'll shoot everything at the Rhino. Good thing about Plague Marines is it's always rapid fire. It counts as if it's in rapid fire range because of inexorable. I need 5s to wound the Rhino. I don't cause any wounds. Okay, we'll come back to this flank in a minute. Going down to this flank and spending a CP on Vermin Whispers on the Terminators because there's 4 of them that can shoot at the ladies in the tree on that objective there. 4 of them in line of sight and range, and they're in trees, so they're -1 to hit. So Vermin Whispers is a +1 to hit. Yep. So back to 3s. The 2 Blight Launchers are here. They can't see them, but the only thing that they're in range of is the Exorcist. So they will fire at the Exorcist. But here's all the shots going into the ladies. 4 shots each from each of these 4 fellas because Terminators and what's the word?
Inexorable.
That's the one.
I love the fact you're asking the Scottish person how to speak English.
It's got far too many verbs. 3s to hit. 4s to wound. No, 3s to wound because you're a lady. You're like toughness 3. You're toughness Eldar.
Indeed.
That's really cocklet. That many. How many is that? That's 10. 10. 3-up saves on the ladies in the trees. Ooh. Oh. 3 of them get taken out.
Oh dear.
Sweet. Right. Light launcher into tank. This will hit on 2s because a Vermin Whispers is a thing. It's strength 6, so I need 5s to wound. And I'll reroll 1s because it's a plague weapon. Drop dice don't count. 2 5s, so that's 2 wounds at -2 on the tank. And they're 2 damage each now, so that's 4 damage.
Yep.
Right, onto the tank. What I'm going to do with the tank is put the Entropy Cannons and the Slugger into the Exorcist. And because they're injured over there, there's only 2 left.
Yep.
I was going to go into the tank, but I'm going to put the mortar up and over onto that unit there. Because if I kill them, you're only on, mind you, you're still going to be on 2 objectives for 10 points anyway.
Yeah.
But that's a troop unit on an objective. You're going to have to, yeah. So I'll put the mortar that way. Let's see what the mortar does. Number of shots is 1 shot. Let's CP that. It's 2 shots.
100% improvement.
4's to hit. I hit you both times. 2's to wound. Wound you both times. At -2, it's 5 up or death. One of them dies. 1 left alive. And then 2 entropy cannons into the exorcist, hitting on 3s. And one of them hits. It's strength 8, toughness 7 now?
Yeah, 7 now.
So 3's to wound, and it wounds at AP -4.
Shield of Faith, 6 up invulnerable.
Okay, good luck.
Ew.
And this is D3, +3 damage. How many wounds has it got?
7.
Okay, it won't kill it, but it will do 4 wounds. Now the slugger, 3s, and it's strength 5, and I don't wound. Interesting. Okay, so the last thing left to fire is this tank here. What I'm going to do is the mortar's 48-inch range. I'm going to fire it up and over into the tank on 3 wounds remaining. And then the entropy cannons and slugger are going to go into the multi-melters that are right here. It looks dangerous to me. Here's the shots from the mortars though. D6 shots, looking for more than a 2. That's a 5, that's good. I might be able to take out the tank. I will hit that tank on 3s. And I hit it 3 times. It's strength 8, I need 3s to wound. And I wound it 3 times. 3 5-up saves, sir. And each of these does 2 it's D3? Is it D3? No, it's 2 damage. That's 4 damage on the tank. Unless you CP reroll it. And you're going to need a 5-up if you want to do that. It's up to you. You've only got 7 CP left. You are going to do it?
Yeah.
You're not going to do it. You are going to do it. It doesn't help. Does the tank blow up?
This is where the 6 comes.
It doesn't blow up. One of the exorcists done, the retributors done in, the amount of firepower coming back from the sisters will be significantly reduced this turn. Next turn, can I reduce it even further with entropy cannons into immolator at point blank range? I can't if I miss. The stubber slugger, wounding on 5s. I do 2 wounds at -1 though.
4s.
And it takes a wound. Okay. I can't count on everything happening. The fact that they're gone, I mean, I've dropped 8 multi-melter shots out of the way and an exorcist out of the way. I'm happy with that. So now we're going to have some charging coming up. The first thing that's going to charge is, drop dice don't count, is Mortarion with 3 wounds remaining going into the mortar fires. How many flamer shots have they got?
4d6.
4d6 auto hits.
Yes.
Yeah, what's the worst that can happen? Are you going to Overwatch?
Yes.
Burn Mortarion with fire. OMG. 19 auto hits. Wounding on 5s. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's quite a lot. He's got to make 8 4-up saves. I feel like I was a bit... yeah, he's got to make 8 4-up saves. He drops 3, which is his wounds. So I can rely on my 5-up shrug or CP reroll one of these. Let's CP reroll one of these. No. And now I need my 5-up shrugs. He fails all of them. Mortarion gets taken out, and it doesn't matter whether he explodes or not because he doesn't hurt Nurgle units. That's 490 points gone. That's a quarter of my army gone, and a heavy, heavy blow for the Death Guard. What was that?
I think the Engines of Redemption there have earned release from the chassis after taking down a Lord of the Chaos.
They've taken down a Demon Primarch.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a bit foolish of me running in there against them. Mind you, that was 19 auto hits.
Yeah.
And it was going to die next anyway. That happened. That was glorious, glorious thing. So the Rhino here will charge that one. Why am I rolling only 1 dice? It goes 8 inches. Ends up there for my engage points. This one will charge and 5. Am I 6 away? And those were the only charges. Here we are after piling in with that tank and doing the fights as 2 tanks rammed against each other and caused no wounds to each other. In fact, that is the end of my turn 1. I do get 2 points for engaging, And I do get 3 points for spreading the sickness, but Mortarion is gone. You have morale. Morale over here.
Done.
Oh, with your miracle dice.
Yes.
That's genius. I love it. So rolling that one came in clutch in the end. So yeah, 5 points to the Death Guard. Losing Mortarion a sting, but the Retributors and the Exorcist is a sting as well. And at the start of your turn, you're going to get 10 points for the primary, plus an additional 4 points for holding on to that objective there with Sacred Ground. So at the start of turn 2, it will be 14 points to 5 in favour of the Sisters. Now let's go on to Sisters turn 2. 14 points to 5 for the Sisters, and this noble warrior is holding down this objective all on her own. The other unit tried to advance across here to give her some support, but you only rolled a 1 for the advance roll, and then appearing out of the webway are these two. More than 9 inches away from my unit, but barricades are a thing. It would be a 7-inch charge to this side of the wall to actually engage them in close combat. And one of them ignores invulnerable saves in close combat.
Yes.
Which is nasty. The mortifiers are also moving down towards the Terminators as well. So we have a whole pain train going down that way. They advanced. The rest of your characters are down here. Your Canoness is sanctifying this objective. It's only going to be worth 1, but once it's done, and then she can move up and cause some problems. Tank shuffling round as well. Over this side, the Rhino fell out of combat and there were 10 Sisters inside it, but all of them have hopped out through the ruin and seek to pressurize the Death Guard lines. This is the unit that sanctified the ground last turn. They're moving forward as well. And the multi-melter, Immolator, has stayed locked up in combat because 4 multi-melter shots at point blank range should kill a Rhino, right? Let's move on to the shooting phase. But at the start of the shooting phase, Ephriel Stern has mind bullets. How does this work then?
She rolls just like a smite.
Yes.
Except for it's 10 or more as your super smite.
Yes.
But she also gets +2 against chaos.
Does she?
So effectively.
We're not chaos. We don't pray to Nurgle anymore. We really love the Emperor. Mm-hmm. We've seen the light of our ways.
That's why you've got the chaos tri-point in the front of your dozer blade.
We'll just ignore that. It's fine. Okay, so 5s and a 5. Which is a 3, which is +2 to that. That's a super smite. That's a super smite. So D6 mortal wounds coming through to the Terminators.
Big bunny, please.
And that's a 1. Okay, so only 1 mortal wound caused, but they can keep doing it turn after turn if they're there. They can do it while they're in melee as well, which is nasty. So more shots. The mortifiers are in range, 4d6, auto hitting flamers. I shouldn't have jumped that guy over the wall. And these are strength 6 Ministorum heavy flamers, so they will wound on 3s, even though I'm Death Guard. And that's a lot of wounds. 9 wounds at -1. I applied the first wound to the guy on this side of the barricade, which I shouldn't have done, because the barricade would have given me a 2-up save. So these are 3-up saves. And that one's now dead. And these are +1 saves because of the barricade, which become a 2-up save. And we're okay. Now we're on to the Castigator. The big gun is coming down into the Blade Burst Crawler. The 9 heavy bolter shots are going into the Poxwalkers. Here's the big gun, D6 shots for 5 shots. And it hits on a 3. And it hits 3 times. And at strength 9, it will wound on 3s. And it wounds twice. I need 5 up and vulnerable saves. And make 1. How much damage?
3.
3 damage, which becomes 2 damage. The tank is on 10 wounds remaining. Then the heavy bolters, hitting on 3s. Because this is a separate ruin. They're firing through this way into the Pox Walkers. Wounding on 3s. And then I need to make a chunk of Feel No Pains. But it's 2 a time. So the first one is dead. The second one, dead. Third one, dead. Fourth one, dead. You kill 4 Poxwalkers. Next up, tank number 2. It fired its heavy bolters into the Terminators, not wounding it, but you mean to take this Plague Crawler down. Here's the Missiles of Doom. And this time there's 6 shots coming in. Fire from the sky.
Hitting on 3s.
Yes. 5 hits.
Okay, that's good.
Strength 8. 2 wounds. 2 wounds. 2 5 up and vulnerable saves. Make 1 fail 1. D6 damage. 3, which becomes 2. The tank is down to 8 wounds left. They're tough, these things. Now, while we're shooting at tanks, we're coming down here to the Immolator, putting 4 multi-melter shots into the Rhino, point blank range. Forced to hit though, because it's a big gun in close combat. One of them hits. A wound on a 3, and I don't get a save. It's D6 plus 2 damage for 4 damage on the Rhino. Interestingly, it doesn't have disgustingly resilient. It's just really smelly. Then the heavy bolter from the tank bounced. We're on to the ladies that got out of the Rhino, firing everything down into this squad here. Here's squad number 1, hitting on 3s. And wounding on 5s with bolters, because I'm a... 4 wounds come through. Nice. I'll start applying it to the one on the ruin in light cover. So 2 up saves. One of them takes a wound. There is a heavy bolter shell coming in from that squad as well.
Hitting on 4s.
Nice. 4s to wound. Nice. So my 2 up becomes a 3 up. And one of them dies. Then the second squad that got out of the Rhino fired into the Plague Marine squad as well, causing no damage. And this squad round here fired into the Rhino and took 2 wounds off. And that is the end of the shooting phase. Some Poxwalkers killed, and a Terminator and a tank injured. Now we're on to the charge phase. Ephriel Stern, 7-inch charge into the Terminators. And that's a 6. So I think it might be command point reroll time.
Yes,
I'm not overwatching. Because, you know. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 11. Oh, she's definitely in. They make it there. It's a 10-inch charge for the Flamey Boys. And that's a failed charge. Any more charges?
Yeah, both these squads are going.
Okay. First squad. 10. Definitely in. Second squad. 4. Definitely not in. That's it for the charge phase. Sisters making multiple charges here. Now, interestingly, his foul stench ability, they cannot be selected to fight until all eligible units from my army have done so. So will the sisters survive? We don't know. And then over here, Stern has got a fight first ability. In the fight phase, can be selected to fight first. So we're going here. So we pile in. Stern's got 5 attacks.
Yep.
Hitting on 2s, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay. She hits all the times.
Yep.
And strength?
Strength is now strength 6 with sanctity.
Nice. Okay. Wounding on 3s. And I don't get a save. And how much is it?
It's -3 and no invul saves.
-3. So they typically have a 2 up save. So that becomes a 5 up save.
Yep.
So 5s on our bubonic plate. I make 3 of them. OMG. How much damage?
2.
2 damage, which becomes...
1.
Oh, does 1 damage. Right, does the other fella, is he nasty? Because you've done a wound.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
5 so.
Are these people Eldar?
Kaiganal is.
Kaiganal, isn't it Eldar?
Yeah.
In a sister's army.
Yeah. Well, it's the Demonifuge.
What's the demonic? What are you talking about?
That's what she calls herself.
Does she?
Yes. The very, very good comic from way back when.
Yeah.
Called the Demonifuge. She's a fallen canoness, I believe, who's come back, been through the webway, been through lots of trials and tribulations, pops up to help out, basically.
Right. So is she an Eldar then? She's not an Eldar.
She's not an Eldar, but her friend is.
Oh, Stern is.
Yeah.
Okay, so she isn't, but he is. So she's been wandering the webway and she found this guy.
He is Kaiganal.
Right.
And he's the sort of Eldar friend.
He's the Eldar friend.
And she's the sister of battle that's fallen in and out of favour.
It's all very confusing.
Yes.
Because, I mean, should they be in a sisters list? Really?
I was very against them. Guys like Vossler and Lering will have heard me railing against them. But then I put them on the battlefield. And unless you're hitting against Terminators, they're very good.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right, and Death Guard as well. These are Death Guard Terminators. Yes. Right. Let's see what she can do or he can do. Which one's which? I don't know. I can't tell them apart. Hitting on what now?
Again, hitting on 2s.
Okay. You got a lot of dice there.
Yeah. He's going to be using his Outcast Blades, which make 2 attacks per.
Okay.
So hitting on 2s.
Right.
That'll do.
That's 7 hits. Strength?
Is 4.
4. Okay, 5's to wound. That's it. 2 wounds. Does this ignore invulnerable saves?
Nope.
AP?
-1.
3 ups?
Yep.
I'm fine. You took a wound. Yes. Just a wound. They came charging through. Tried to pick on the Terminators. Interesting. Now, normally we would go here, but they can't be selected to fight until all eligible units from my army can fight. So, I mean, I might as well fight back here. Let's pile in a little bit. I piled in a little bit. Right, flail. They have 3 attacks, because we've got 2 attacks plus 2 close combat weapons, which you double because of the flail. The flail will hit you on 3s. Do I want to spend any CP here? Yes, I do. 1 minute. Creeping Blight. 6s to wound, count as AP -4. Now, I know they have a 6-up invulnerable save, but the Plague Knives and the other stuff that come through might kill this unit off this objective. I'm objective secured, you're objective secured, but let's face it, I want them dead, and I want to go that way. So 3s to hit with a flail. It hits all the times. I'm strength 5. Right now you're toughness 2 because of contagion range. So I am wounding on 2s. And I reroll 1s. Okay, so there's 2 6s. And these are 5 ups, -2. So these are 5 up saves. That's a 6 up save. So 4 5 up saves. I only fail 1. And then 2 6 up saves. No, 3 of them are dead. Then I got a sergeant, and then I got the 2 other fellas, like that. And I hit on 3s. And I am strength 4, your toughness 2. So I'm wounding on 2s. And okay, so they're Plague Knives, so they're all AP -1. And that's the squad. Wow, I keep underestimating standard Plague Marines and melee. But I guess there's one with a flail there. And there is the Foul Blight Spawn, which helped them out as well. Right, we're coming back to the Terminators. Do these have invulnerable saves and things? So do they have any magic stuff?
Very much magic.
Any minuses to hit them?
Minus to hit and to wound.
Minus to hit and to wound. So I'm hitting these on 4s. So I'll spend a CP on Vermin Whispers. So I've got +1 to hit.
Yep.
Wow, I keep underestimating standard Plague Marines, but I guess this squad isn't a standard squad. There is a flail in there, and there is the Foul Blight Spawn helping them out. Now we're coming back over here. Does Stern, do they have any minuses to hit?
Yep, -1 to hit and -1 to wound.
Okay, so they're quite fruity. Fortunately, I've got +1 to hit because of setting to defend defensible cover the barricades here. So -1 to hit, back to +1 to hit. Basically, I'm hitting on 3s. I've got 2 flails in that squad. This is twice as bad as last time, I'm sorry. So this is 12 hits, 12 attacks, hitting on 3s. Strength 5 versus toughness 4 becomes toughness 3. So instead of wounding on 2s this time, I am wounding on 3s, though I do reroll 1s. And that's a lot of wounds at AP -2 damage. That's 9 wounds. Models in this unit have a 4-up invulnerable save. And wowzers! Blessed by the lady, by the saint herself. Right, here's the axes. Not all of my squad can fight, however. So this isn't all the attacks. These will wound you on 2s, because they're axes. And reroll 1s, because they're plague weapons. But they do 1 damage instead of that 2 damage shenanigans. And that is 5, 10, 12 invulnerable saves this time round. Can lightning strike twice? Is the Emperor watching? Maybe? It's also got a 5 of Feel No Pain.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay. Eldar Jank.
The Eldar jankiness coming up. You say 4 LM. That's 4 damage. How many wounds do they have each?
Tyganil, who's the Eldar Jank, has it 5, so he's on 1 wound left.
Right.
And Ephraim Stern's got 6.
5 and 6 wounds?
Yes.
Crazy. Wow. So, didn't do any damage, and I was certain that I would get assassinated by killing a couple of characters here. However, they're still alive, and instead of me getting points for killing characters, Captain Smashy Pants gets points for engaging. And you'll be fighting first next turn, and you're in my table half now, and Mortarion's gone. I'm not sorry about it. And there's some mortifiers that are about to come flying in as well. Yeah, it's successful here. It didn't kill any tanks though, which would have been very, very handy. Not so successful over here, however. Let's rack up some points. So you get 2 points for engaging. You're going to get the 1 point for your sacred right next turn. And there's no way I'm going to be able to blow her off of there because she's a character. Can't target her. But 2 points for engaging gets the sisters up to 16 points. I was on 5, so it'll be 15 points for me at the start of turn 2. 16 for the sisters, 15 for the Death Guard at the start of their movement phase. Let's do that now. So here we are after the Death Guard movement phase, losing by 1 point. But I am engaging on all 4 fronts now because I've dropped Gollus in, my Lord of Contagion, over here in this table quarter. Now, he's a problem. Not for this turn, but maybe for turn 3 or turn 4. Because you could come after him, because he's going to soon be charging down towards that objective there. Though not in this turn. Or you could just let him go charging down towards that objective. I'm aware that Mrs. Smashy Pants is down in that pile there, and she is absolutely brutal. Will she come this way and deal with my Lord of Contagion, or will she come down here and start putting pressure on the Terminators? Don't know, but it's giving you something to think about. That's the idea there.
Yeah, it certainly has.
He's a good, 120 points. He can deep strike in. You can almost never block him. And with transhuman physiology on him, he's a good interference unit. Not as good as for 120 points, 11 wounds with a 4-up invulnerable save and a 5-up shrug and a mortal wound. Not as good as them who are still alive. And they'll get to fight me first. Of course, the Terminators are not backing down. At least I'll get to pile in a bit more and maybe get a couple more attacks through. And you do tell me that once he's dead, then you lose all the buffs. So yeah, I need to dig my way through that. In the meantime, tanks staying still because there's wave 2. So let's do something about wave 2 as well. Stop them come crashing down into my lines. If I can stop wave 1 and wave 2, then you've got this stuff up here dealing with this quarter and the Lord of Contagion in your back lines as well. Then it'll suddenly get a bit messy over this half. Around this side, however, this unit are spreading the sickness. So I'll roll it now. They're going to take D3 mortal wounds. For 2 mortal wounds, so one of them will die, but that will get me another 3 points. I kept the unit inside the Rhino that rammed the Immolator last turn. Well, they've got out. It's a bit of a long bomb charge. It's going to be about 9 inches, we think, going around to get to the second unit on that objective. But the Rhino that was there, that deposited these guys, is zooming around this way. I mean to box the Immolator in. If I can keep it there for turn after turn, shooting at empty Rhinos, I'm happy with that. I am conscious that there is another squad in there, though. So even once I've dealt with some of this, there is another wave coming out here as well. Meanwhile, the tank means to shoot at your tank, because these things are nasty. At the end of the movement phase or command phase, I forget when it is, but it happens, I think it's in the command phase, there's a strat for 1 CP for the dead walk again. I wanted to get it on camera. You spend a CP, you roll 7 dice, and you can only do this once per squad, so they can't do it again. If I had multiple Boxwalker squads, you could do it there. But and then you roll 7 dice, and any 3s you get, you can put models back in, and I lost 5 in that squad, and all 5 of them are rejoining the squad. The dead walk again. So they're back, baby. And this time they're smellier than ever. Right, psychic phase. Hopefully this one isn't a complete bust. I did make sure that Delirium the Corruptor is in 12-inch range for Pestilental Fallout. I'm going to start with a smite. We're going to do a cheeky smite. And that passes. Would you like to try and deny that?
I'll try and deny that.
On a normal 6, or are you spending the... No?
Like that.
Can you stop doing that, please?
Okay.
Here's the Miasma of Pestilence. And that passes. You can deny that on a 6. Or now you're spending the CP to deny that on a 4. Yep. Okay. Deny that on a 4. You don't deny that. It does do a mortal wound to the closest enemy unit. And I am making these guys -1 to hit. And that, did I say Miasma of Pestilence? Yes, that's the spell. That's what it's called. Right. The psychic phase is done. We're now spurting. Did you take away the closest one? Just checking that, because the Foul Blight Spawn, it's a 12-inch spurt. it's spurting on you. Because these two, they're busy spreading sickness. They can't shoot or do anything while they're doing this action. They've pulled their trousers down and they're taking a massive dump right next to the cathedral, the ruin here, like this spreads some sickness. So the foul blight spawn is going to gush all over them with the viscous death. And I can re-roll that. That's why I spent the money on making it a better shooty gun. And that's 6 auto hits, which will win on 2s and re-roll 1s. And that's -3. So you need to make 6 up invulnerable saves on those sisters. And you make 2, but that is not enough to save the squad. What is going on behind the scenes, however, is these miracle dice are racking up, and those ones here look fruity. Okay, so that's shots number 1. Terminators can't shoot, we're in combat. Golos can't shoot, he doesn't have any guns. This tank here needs to kill these mortifiers. How many wounds do they have?
5 each.
5 each. Do I spend a point on... I think I do. Disgusting Force. It gets the mortar from damage 2 to damage 3. Let's fire everything I can into them. Here's the number of shots with the mortar. It's a 6! It's a 6. 3s to hit. And I hit all the time. Grandfather Nurgle is with me. I will wound on 3s. And 5 wounds at AP -2, 3 damage a time. Do they have a shrug as well?
They do have a shrug as well, but they've got normal 4-up save.
So at -2, you needed 6s, right?
Yep.
And each of these does 3 damage a time. What's their shrug? A 5, a 6? How religious and fanatical are they? 5?
Yeah, moderately fanatic.
That's crazy fanatic. Okay.
That's 12.
So here's the first lot of shrugs, and 1's alive on 1 wound remaining, and then you can do 3 more for that one. And that one dies, and then the last 3 shrugs, and 1 takes 2 wounds. Now the Entropy Cannons go flashing in, and hit both times, and wound both times, and do they have an invulnerable save? Because this is AP -4. Do they get the 6 up? They do.
Just 1.
2. Okay, and this does 8 damage in total. Dead mortifiers, which is good because they don't explode, but in close combat, if you roll a 4 up when they die, if they get killed, they get to fight again. So they get to do all their rounds of attacks, then you kill them, and then on 4s they punch you back. Right, tank number 2. Tank will fire, number 2 will fire everything into Exorcist. Here's the mortar, 6 shots again. I'm sorry. Grandfather he's very angry that you killed Mortarion in turn 1, and he means to make these sisters pay, but not with shooting like that, he won't. Actually, that's perfectly statistically average. And I wound all the times as well, so I take it back. 5s, 4 5s. 4 damage in total. Here's the Entropy Cannons. 1 of them hits. And it wounds 6 up invulnerable save. And it does D3 plus 3 damage for another 4 damage. So that tank has been knocked all the way down to 2 wounds remaining. Then these Plague Marines fired into the Rhino, tickled a couple of wounds off of it. This Rhino fired into the Immolator, tickled a couple of wounds off of it. This Rhino actually can see the sisters, but it's going to be forced to hit them, and 3s to wound them, and does 2 wounds to these sisters on the objectives, and they're fine. And that's the end of my shooting phase. So tickled some vehicles down here. I've injured that tank, which is good, which is very good. But the Castigator is still on full wounds. The mortifiers are gone. We have some charges coming up. First up, Rhino is going to charge the Immolator and box you in.
Mm-hmm.
And we box in the Immolator. Now, this is a 9-inch charge because I've got to stay away an inch away from that Rhino to get to you on that objective. I'm not slowed down by terrain because I'm a Plague Marine. And I failed the charge. Now, this could be big. So I'm going to CP reroll this. If I take you off that objective, then... But do I need to? Because you're still on 5, 10. You're going to get your 10 any. Let's do it. I think I should do it. And I make the charge. And we end up here after we pile in because these are the only 2 charges this turn. You have a fight first, I have a fight first, so then it goes to the active player, which is me. So it's this unit, and I'm going to spend a CP on Creeping Blight. And here's the flails, which hit on 3s and wound on 2s and reroll 1s, and they're all AP -2 on those sisters there. So 6 5-up saves. 4 of them die, leaving only 1 remaining. Then we have the sergeant, the other guy, all the dice hitting on 3s, and oh, there was another 2, and wounding on. And these are 6-up saves because they're -4.
Those.
Yeah, that sister squad get wiped out. And then I tagged the rhino because why not? Because that will stop it advancing. You can fall back so you can shoot at them with something else, but yeah, why not tag the rhino? They're on your objective. They're all over it. And then we come over here to Stern, fighting first against these Terminators. 5 attacks, hitting on 2s and wounding on 3s, ignoring invulnerable saves. But I do get, that's 2 come through this time. But I do get, what was it, -2 or -3? 5-up shrugs, 5-up armor saves, words, and it each does 2 damage, which becomes 1 damage. So one of these is down to 1 wound remaining, and then she gets to hit, or the other one gets to hit with bajillion attacks. All the hits come through. Strength
is 4.
4, yeah, 5's to wound.
Hey.
Nice.
-1, single damage.
You kill 1.
Yay.
So it looks like this after I lose a Blight Lord. Then I pile in, and this time I'm spending a CP on Vermin Whispers because you're -1 to hit, and I don't get that +1 to hit for defensible now because we're just engaged in close combat. This will get my flails back up to hitting on 3s and wounding on 4s, rerolling 1s. And that many 4-up invulnerable saves. 7, the blessed number, which means you failed all the invulnerable saves, surely. Nope, you make 4 of them. Each of them doing 2 damage. So you got a bunch of shrugs.
Yep. So the first one, nope, Kaganol's dead.
Right.
And then first down second one, and I don't know why I did roll them like that.
So she has 3 wounds left. Then the axes go swinging in. These are hitting on 3s because all the attacks and all the stuff would have happened at the same time. Wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s, and they're AP -2, 1 damage each.
Wounded on 3s because of her -1 to wound.
Okay, so cool. 9 4-up invulns. Does she have a shrug now?
Nope.
So a successful fight phase from the Death Guard. Taking them out stops another round of shooting with the mind bullets with that smitey effect. And also stopping the second wave coming in from the mortar fires is quite a powerful move from the Death Guard. We seem to have locked down this flank here, and we've killed our first 2 characters, and we're engaging on all of the fronts all over the place, and we're spreading the sickness down here as well. Let's rack up some points. So I've engaged, I've assassinated, I'm spreading the sickness and the primaries. I'm up to 27 points to the Sisters 16 as we try and infect and putrefy this once sacred site. 27 to 16. You will get 10 points for the primaries though at the start of Sisters turn 3, so there'll only be 1 point in it as we go on to Sisters. And another one there for that one there.
Yep.
So it'll actually be a dead draw as we go on to Sisters turn 3. Here we are after the Sisters turn, and after sanctifying this site down here, it's 27 points each. Another Sister squad has come over here and is sanctifying ground on this objective, which will be an additional 4 points. The lady that was there has advanced this way. Tried to get a long advance there for engaging, and didn't manage to get quite over the halfway line. Now there's a new strat in one of the Caradon books, the Book of Fire, which is basically Power of the Machine Spirit. It's called Pious Machine Spirit. You spend a CP in the command phase, and a tank can act as though it's on its top bracket. So that's what's been done with this Exorcist here. It's moved behind the wall, the Castigator moving behind the wall, which means that tank can't see it. Those are words. Instead, both of them look like they're going to be firing down into this table quarter here, and then perhaps next turn moving around the Sacred Ruin to bring firepower down into the second tank. The Canoness is staying back on this objective. She's a character, cannot be targeted. She's within 3 inches of a vehicle with wounds of 10 or more. And there's Mrs. Smashy Pants and the priest and the hospitaller making their way down towards some Terminators. It's looking nasty at this end. The firepower that the sisters can dish out is still considerable. You're staying locked up with the Plague Marines here.
Yes, indeed.
And you've chosen to keep... There is a 5-lady squad in that object, in that, but they're staying in there.
Yeah, because of the turn we're in, contagion range makes them effectively toughness 2.
Yeah.
So I would much rather have them available, hopefully for later turns, after I melt my way through that stinky rhino.
That's true. If you jump out, plus their movement and where you can put them is very restricted. Contagion range is 6 inches now, getting them to toughness 2. So yeah, you want to blast your way through the roadblock and then make your way down there, because there's still a good couple of turns left in this game. Right, let's move on to the shooting phase. Actually, we're going to start here with the Immolator, multi-melters, point blank range. And 3 of them hit. I think this is a dead rhino.
Hopefully.
2 of them wound. No save. And that's 5 damage, 9 damage. It's on 6 wounds remaining. And for 2 CP, I can auto blow up. How many CP have I got? 3. No, let's not spend them. I don't blow up anyway. But the rhino, I'm assuming you're firing at the injured one.
Yes, absolutely.
One of the empty rhinos has been blown away. Next up, this rhino fired into close combat, injuring one of the Plague Marines. Now we're on to the Exorcist. What are you doing with the Exorcist, sir?
Heavy bolter will go into the Poxwalkers again.
Oh, right, okay, over here, yeah.
And the missiles will go into the big nasty tank.
Into the tank. The Tank of Doom. It's on 8 wounds left. Here's the missiles. And you get only 3 shots this time. 3s to hit. Spending miracle dice, one of them auto hits. And the other 2 auto hit anyway. 3s to wound. Can you do... could you do miracle dice again, or is it only once per...
It's 1 per phase, except where there's a simulacrum.
Okay, so that's it for the shooting phase. Right, okay. They all hit, they all wound. I need invulnerable saves. I make 1, fail 2, 2d6 damage. And that's a dead tank, which doesn't blow up. Ooh. So the Exorcist killed the tank, also managed to take out one of the Poxwalkers. Now we're on to the Castigator. And you're thinking about firing up here? Am I Lord of Contagion or down at the Terminators? What have we decided on in the end?
I think we'll go for the Terminators.
Terminators, okay. Everything?
Yep.
Because the heavy bolters actually can't see the Poxwalkers because of the thing down here. Okay, so what shell are we doing?
We're doing the heavy shell.
Okay.
So D6 numbered shots. 3
shots, hitting on 3s. 2 hits, wounding on strength 9. It would be 3s because I am toughness Plague Marine. Mm-hmm. Well, Death Guard. That's unfortunate. 4 up and bun. A further 4 up and bun. How much damage?
Straight 3.
Straight 3, which becomes 2. So one of these is on 1 wound left. And then you have the heavy bolters, which wounded 4 times at -1 but +1 because of barricade. 2 up saves. That kills the injured one. Now, interestingly, that is the end of the shooting phase. A Terminator dead and a tank taken out. Any charges?
Nope.
No charges
yet.
Okay, so defenders get to fight first. So I'm going to spend 2 CP down to 1 remaining on Hatred Eternal, which is Veterans of the Long War, essentially, +1 to wound. And try and crack this rhino open in this turn. And then that gives me options to start harassing you in my turn. Here's the flail on 3s. And it would be 5s to wound, but it's now 4s to wound. Rerolling 1s. Only get 1 wound through. 1 5-up save. Does take 2 damage. Then the Plague Knives hit on 3s. and wound on 4s. Rerolling. Oh no. Wound on 4s. 3 wounds. And take 2 wounds off. Leaving the Rhino on 4 wounds remaining. Okay, so that didn't work. But at least I tried. We're going to fight back here with the vehicles. And they just banged against each other, causing no damage. And that's the end of Sisters. Turn 3. They are not a lot on this flank, but pushing hard against the thinning line of the Terminators around here. Let's rack up some points. Okay, it's still 27 points each. You will get +4 more at the start of your turn for sanctifying that. 27 points each. However, in my turn 3, I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4 objectives. So I am on more objectives than Captain Smashy Pants, than the Sisters. So I will max out the primaries this turn for 15 points as we go on to Death Guard. Turn 3. Here we are after the Death Guard's movement phase. My Lord of Contagion is making his way downtown, walking fast and trying to put some pressure on that objective here. And my Terminators, well, they step back and are spreading the sickness. I took 2 mortal wounds because of it, and they're not going to do anything else this turn. They're just completing this action. But they are standing on an objective and getting me 3 points, and yeah, they're a big rock that the Sisters have to break through. The Poxwalkers are on this objective. Both of my characters around here advanced, and I broke out of combat with this thing. I did some shenanigans here. The Rhino moved back that way, and the Plague Marines got in it. There's reasons for this, and basically the reasons are there's an objective here and an objective there. Next turn they could hop out and charge that way and start causing problems in and amongst the Sisters' back lines. Or they can, well, they're going to be a problem. I've now got a unit of Plague Marines back inside of Rhino, so they're mobile again. Plus I got my 15 points in the command phase for the primaries for being on 4. So I don't need them. I should get up to 45 points for the primaries now. I don't need them to be on that objective anymore. They can be a harassment unit. And it does mean I can shoot at this tank. So let's shoot at oh no. Psychic powers. Let's do a cheeky smite. Which you can deny on a 6. You don't deny, and it does D3 plus 1 mortal wound with Pestilent and Fallout, putting it down to 2 wounds remaining. And the other thing, Miasma and Pestilence. I mean, they are my troop unit, but I can't see them getting shot at by anything. So I'm thinking Miasma on well, it's Delirium. He'd do it on himself. And that passes and puts another mortal wound on the tank. Oh no, that one can deny if you want. Mm-hmm. Nope. The tank's down to 1 wound left. Delirium is -1 to hit. And now let's spell on the tank in the shooting phase 4 times, which will wound the tank on 3s. And it needs to make a bunch of 6s. It doesn't make any 6s, and does it blow up? And the tank's gone. So that road blocking unit is out of the way. You're not on that objective. And now I just need to shoot tank number 2, Emulator, over here with Entropy Cannons. So, Entropy Cannons. One of them hits, one of them miss. I really want this tank. Do I really want it dead? I do. It's got multi-melters on it. So let's CP reroll. Mind you, it'd be my last CP. And I was thinking about popping smoke on that. So no, I'll leave it like that. 3s to wound. Doesn't wound. Oh dear. I've just freed up a multi-melter Immolator. D6 shots with the mortar for 1 shot, which hits and wounds with a 5-up save. And it takes 2 damage. It's down to 7 left. I haven't even bracketed it. And then I fired the stubbers in and didn't wound it. And that's the end of my shooting. Oh, I got these guys. I mean, they're completing actions. Mm-hmm. Are these guys in range? Well, a couple of them were, and took another wound off the Immolator, and that's the end of my turn. I'm tempted to turn around and charge back with a Rhino now. Yeah, that's the end of my turn. Mistakes were made over this side of the battle grid. But I am engaging on all 4 fronts again for 3 points. I get another 3 points for spreading the sickness over here. So the Death Guard are racing into the lead as we go into Sisters turn 4. Here we are after the Sisters' movement phase in turn 4, after consecrating this ground as well. 9 points for Sacred Ground so far. It's 41 points to 48 for the Sisters, so they're only 7 points behind. This unit moving back away from Polis over there and spending a CP one more time on Pious Machine Spirit. So the Exorcist can count as though it's on its top bracket. At the end of the movement phase, the lone sister over here has moved back to be in range of the Hospitaller because you're spending a CP to put D3 models back in that unit. For 3, it's the big 3. This unit of 1. Go back to a unit of 4. Meanwhile, around here, there's trouble brewing on the Death Guard left flank. The Immolator has moved round, still with 5 sisters in it. And in the back, a Canoness, a lone Canoness, stands on the home objective by herself. Right, we're going to go on to the shooting phase now. Where would you like to start, sir? We're going to start with the Immolator. The Immolator is firing everything at the tank, right in front of it, hitting on 3s. And it hits 3 times. Wounding on 4s. And it wounds once. And that's the CP reroll. Both of them wound. Because you're looking over your shoulder at your miracle dice there. So this could hurt. But I make a invulnerable save. You put in that in. And you're in multi-melter range. So that becomes 8 damage. Which is 7 damage. And you've bracketed the tank in 1 shot. The heavy bolters bounced off the Plague Burst Crawler, but the reason why we moved the Castigator all the way around here is because now it's lining up a shot to take off the last couple of wounds off the Crawler. It can also clip the edge of these Plague Marines here. So the 9 heavy bolter shots going into the Plague Marines on the objective. Right, here's the big Cannon of Doom though. It has 1 shot, which hits on a, not that.
Yep.
Now for the heavy bolters. And they hit 6 times. They will wound on 4s. And each of these AP -1, but I am in a ruin. And I fail 2. That would normally kill 2 normal Plague Marines. Normal Marines, but we are not normal Marines. We are Plague Marines. That only kills 1. So the Castigator whiffed. We're on to the Exorcist. And the Exorcist is putting all of the guns into the Terminators. Here's the big missiles of doom. And that is full house. That's 9 shots. This is going to sting. And it hits on 3s.
Oh, plenty of 2s then.
3s to wound. 5 wounds. Each doing D6 damage. 4 up invulnerable saves. I fail 3. So the first one will kill 1. Because 1's injured, and then D6. You kill 2. So 2 died to the tank. The heavy bolters also caused a wound. Then the squad of ladies here fired in at the Terminators, taking another wound off. There's 5 Terminators left, and one of them is on 1 wound remaining. This squad back here fired over at Polis and didn't manage to injure him, and that is the end of the shooting phase. There isn't any charges coming on because it's -2 up and over the barricade to get into this squad of Terminators down here, unless you want to charge a Plague Burst Crawler with an Immolator.
What could possibly go wrong there?
I've got 1 dice sat there ready to spend. You could if you want to.
No, I think I'll leave it.
Okay, so that was pretty good. You are engaging. You're engaging with a Castigator over here, so you've got some points for engaging. You're not sanctifying any ground at the moment, however. But yeah, it's a close game as we go on to Death Guard turn 4. And here we are after the Death Guard movement phase, and though it broke my heart to do it, the Terminators had to step back. I really thought about hopping over the wall and go charging in and get that assassinate point for killing that priest down there and slaughtering my way through this unit that the Hospitaller just brought back to life. But very few assets left, so I need to hold on it to every single one for turn 5. So they've stepped back, they're still within range of that objective, and I'm in this table quarter and this table quarter. Well, Gollus is going to go in, he's going to go wheeling in there and hopefully kill them off of that objective. I still have the Poxwalkers down here. The unit of 2 are hanging tough on this objective down here, and my Malignant Playcaster and Foul Blight Spawn mean to end that tank. If I don't end the tank, the Rhino's coming back around here for another charge. The unit that were in the Rhino, instead of going after the Cannoness, because that would have been a long bomb charge, she has a 4-up invulnerable save, I might have failed the charge, she might have survived. Spreading Sickness here, that's a guaranteed 3 points for Spreading Sickness here. This objective has been sanctified, and now I double sanctify it by pulling my pants down and having a lovely poo. So that's what's going on there. I'm all the way around the edges, trying to stay away from the big guns of the sisters and trying to max out as many points as I can. We have yet to step foot into the Sacred Ruin because it burns us. So we will sanctify the ground in a smelly way all around the outside instead. Now we're on to the Psychic phase. Let's smite this tank. It must die. That passes. Would you like to try and deny?
Yes.
You're going to spend the CP on a 4-up deny. And you do. Okay. Yeah. I think Miasma of Pestilence is kind of important. And I think, well, they can die, you see, because I've got 35 points on the primaries. So as long as I am on 2, I will max out my primaries. Currently you're on 2? You're on 2. And if I get you off of that one, you'll be down to 1 again.
Yep.
So I don't really need to keep them alive. Yeah. So, but I'll miasma them anyway, because I've got nothing else to do here. And it passes. And that's... Drop dice don't count. And that's a mortal wound to the tank. And they're now -1 to hit. And now the spurty thing in the shooting phase. For 1 shot, which I can re-roll, because I've upgraded it to Viscous Death, which wounds on 3s, and that's 3 at -3. And that's 2 damage each time. That's a dead tank.
Yep.
And yeah, it blew up. So D3 mortal wounds on Delirium the Corruptor for 1, and on the Foul Blight Spawn for 2, and there's still 5 ladies inside there. And they could die on 1s. But only one of them falls. And they disembark in an orderly fashion on this side of the Immolator, ready to get lit up by those Plague Marines over there. And 1 hits, and 1 wounds, and 1 dies. Then after that squad killed 1, the Rhino fired in and killed 2, leaving only the Superior left. So the tank is going to split fire all over the place. It's going to put the Stubber into that one, the Entropy Cannons into the tank that rudely shot at me.
Yep.
And I've spent a CP on Disgusting Force to get it to a damage 3 mortar, because I can shoot at this Cannoness now.
Yes.
So, and she's got 5 wounds.
Yep.
And this gets a damage 2 weapon to a damage 3 weapon. How many shots come through? For 5 shots. But I am hitting on force. The tank is bracketed. This is kill a character. This is get you off an objective. And I hit 3 times. I need 2s to wound her. Can I wound her? And I reroll once. It's a plague weapon. Right. It's a miracle. She saves one of the blows and takes that 6 damage. It's not a miracle unless you CP reroll one of them if you want to. Okay, choosing not to CP reroll that, the Cannoness gets taken out by the mortar with Disgusting Force. But a miracle occurred over here when the Stubbers just slammed into the Superior and didn't kill her. Now we have the Entropy Cannons coming into the Castigator, and both of them miss as well. So the only thing the tank did was blow up that Cannoness. Her time, it was her time.
But it was an important thing that the tank did.
Yeah. She's in a happy place now, though. She's gone to sit by the Emperor's side. The last thing left in the shooting phase is here. Now, I think the only thing left to do for the Terminators is fire into the troops, because they're troops. So, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Blight launchers, hit twice, and don't wound. Yeah, they wound twice at -2. And take 2 out. And then the bolter wounds 4 times as well. and takes another one out, and then it suddenly occurred to me there's a hospitaler there, so you shrug one of them on a 6 and the other one's on 5s. And I put the camera down because there's no way you can roll loads of 6s, but you're putting 2 ladies back in again. So the Emperor truly does protect. And then the guns of the Death Guard fall silent as they rearm and reload. And then we went on to the charge phase. You chose to overwatch with these sisters into Gollus, no damage caused, and make the charge. That's a 7-inch charge. And over here, I charge down with the Delirium, the Corruptor. So we're going to start here with a scythe attack from Gollus. So instead of 5 attacks, this is 10 attacks. And he hits on 2s. And what this does is double the number of attacks, but make it AP -1. But it is a plague weapon. So that is 6. Wait, did I only roll 8 dice? I got 2 more dice to roll. Because 6, 7, 8. Yeah. One of more hits. And wounds. Yeah, 7 wounds. 7 4-up saves. Take it out 4 of them. And then I pile in. Then it looks like this. Then we come to the other end of the battle grid where Delirium, the Corruptor, hits the Superior with 4 attacks twice at strength 7. And it's not... Is it a plague weapon? Yes, it is. Doesn't help. She is a 4-up save. And the Emperor protects. Getting blown out of the Rhino and shot at and smitten, and that's the end of my fight phase. You may fight back. She attacks back with her chainsword.
Hitting on 3s because she's part of a squad that got wounded.
Oh yes.
And because she's very weak.
She wounds once. Is that an AP -1 chainsword?
No, it's a normal chainsword.
Takes a wound off of him anyway. He's down to 2 wounds remaining. And then we come all the way over here. Yeah, so she'll hit on 3s as well because the squad was injured, wounding on a 5. She wounds as well. They're angry ladies, 2-up save. I make the save. We have some morale now. So you're going to pass. Auto pass over here and then over here. Oh, you pass on both flanks. So she stands firm. The lady over here stands firm, and you can heal back into that squad should you wish to. More importantly, you are in range of that objective, so you still score your 5 points for the primary for taking that objective there. But I'm engaging on all the quarters. I've killed another character, and I've spread the sickness one more time behind the wall over there. And so these 2 forces have torn the hell out of each other, apart from a chunk of sisters down here and 1 blessed sister over here. This is all that remains of the Adeptus Sororitas, of the Order of her Martyred Lady. They're on 43 points at the end of turn 4. The Death Guard, while they are greatly reduced, have been managing to complete their orders, and they're on 68. So let's see how it ends in turn 5. And here we are after the sisters' turn. They get 5 points for holding this in primary here, making it 48 points to 68. And it looks like Mrs. Smashy Pants is finally going to go in and get her blade wet. Over here, the Castigator moving around to look at the Poxwalkers or at the tank down in the quarter. And over here, this sister has stepped back from close combat. No reason not to. It is turn 5. If she dies, then you don't get the points for the engage. But if she steps back, cleans the blood and gristle off her blade, ready to go in turn 6, which is after the movie ends, then maybe she survives, but you're getting the point. She's been told to hold. Hold for now. You did regain a CP, and you've spent it on making the tank at full ballistic skill one more time, and now the sisters will unleash hell. Then we ran through the shooting phase, the Castigator firing its big cannon of doom into the Plague Burst Crawler one more time, causing no damage, and both of the tanks firing their heavy bolters into the Poxwalkers, cutting them all the way down to 5 Poxwalkers remaining, and the Exorcist missiles took out 2 of the Terminators. We had some more small arms fire here and there, didn't do any damage at all. So a couple of Terminators fell, some Poxwalkers fell, and now Mrs. Smashy Pants is going charging in to my Lord of Contagion, and she makes the charge. Okay, so talk us through what this lady does again. She's got X number of attacks. She gives herself 2 mortal wounds, and
because she's rocking the Blade of Sacrifice, she uses those mortal wounds as the damage characteristic when they go through.
Nice.
So,
and it gets extra strength as well.
Yeah, because I've given her a warlord trait with that extra one.
Okay.
She gets, each wound she takes, she gets an extra strength and attack.
Okay, so each wound is strengths and attacks and damage in mortal wounds, and she's hitting on 2s.
Yes.
And sixes explode. So that's 6 hits.
Yep.
Right, at strength 8.
Yep.
Toughness 5. And each of these is 2 mortal wounds.
Yes.
So that's 10 mortal wounds.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, she wins. And with that savage blow, that's the end of Sister's turn. 5, that's the end of their turn. And I forgot to add a primary up. So at the very end of the game, they got 40 points for the primaries and 9 points for Sacred Grounds, 2 for Overrun and 4 for Engage, which leaves their final score at 55 points. The Death Guard are currently on 68. So without taking any further actions, we know the Death Guard have won this day. And this is the way the world ends. So yeah, I'm calling it there. No need to take any further actions. We just ran through some points. I will get another 2 points for Engage over there, making my final Engage score 14 points, my Assassinate score 9, Spread the Sickness 12, and I'd have maxed out the primary on 45, giving a final score of 80 points to 55 in favour of the Death Guard. My tournament list is still doing chonky. It's still doing well, even when Mortarion gets taken out in turn 1. That's the point of this list here. It's designed to still score and do things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sneaky.
It definitely did a lot of things.
It did a lot of things left and right and all over the place. I mean, we were talking off camera, that natural -1 damage.
Yeah.
And the contagion range. The reason why I like that for a faction discipline is it's always turned on.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about it. It's not something like charging gets you extra something, or like Space Wolves or Blood Angels. It's just always there. So even when you've just got your Death Guard and your Terminators and your things like... I mean, the Terminators didn't do much, but they sat there and took it. Yeah. For most of the game. The Plague Burst Crawlers, one of them died really quickly and Mortarion died really quickly, but again, Plague Burst Crawlers sometimes just hang in there and hang in there and hang in there. And the little cheeky move that I did round here, well, that was just cheeky, boxing in your Rhino.
Yeah, but it did work. I mean, that held up the Immolator, which meant that this flank wasn't able to do anything with the Sisters there, so yeah.
Yeah, as far as flanks go, I think I've got this one down. Yeah. I mean, she'll die. So I've got this flank, but I've got some of my characters in an injured tank. And over here, essentially, you've got this flank. The Castigator is uninjured. This thing you keep spending the CP on, so it's on full stuff. And there's still 3 Terminators here, but 1 more volley from both of these tanks and the Terminators would be gone. So you have won one flank. I won the other flank.
Yeah, I think just at the start I made the decision not to put Cannon S Smashy Pants forward.
Right.
First time I've ever done that. Usually I'm headlong because, Smashy Pants.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So why didn't you? Why did you think, 1 minute, I'll hold it back for a turn?
I thought Mortarion would last.
Yeah, so did I. I thought he'd be in and amongst there. I mean, if he'd have made that charge, then she'd have gone wham and she'd have killed him, right? And that would have freed up your other guns to shoot at some others. I thought he would last as well.
He did, yeah.
But your shooting phase was overwhelming.
Yes.
Mind you, my turn 1 shooting phase was quite nasty as well.
Yeah, they were very punchy, actually.
Yeah. So I like your list. It's got a lot... She's mean.
Yes, very.
That is. She must do work for you sometimes. I'm glad we managed to catch it on camera, but being able to dish out... There's no cap on that mortal wounds. It doesn't say it caps out at 6. Or
nope.
It just does more wounds.
If she's full health, you give her 2. She's still got 3 remaining. You've got the Blessed... you've made her a Blessed Saint so she can do her D3 wounds at the start of the command phase.
Has she taken any glorious scalps that you can remember, or... She must have taken some names by now.
She's ran through quite a lot of Russell's Necrons and also done in Mr. Zero's Death Guard Lord as well.
Okay. So just taking names, just racking them up the tally. Has she ever died?
No.
Because, that's another thing about burying a character in and amongst with a hospital nearby. Yeah, yeah. She wasn't all the way up the field because of Mortarion,
Yes.
and then she was a little bit out of position.
Yeah.
And then, to be fair, actually, another thing is I was scared of her. When you're telling me what she could do. I mean, I didn't ever step foot in there except for Mortarion at the beginning, and then he died. That was cursed. That was blessed.
Yeah.
I just skipped around the edges trying to get my engage points and my spread the sickness points. And I stepped back twice with the Terminators to avoid getting in close combat with her. I was, yeah. The tanks are doing what tanks do.
Yeah, they worked very well.
Yeah.
Nicely surprised with the Castigator.
Is why? Yeah, that's twice now. New bottle syndrome, and this time it didn't take a wound.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe cast it, but it's toughness 8 as well.
I just want something for that's not heavy bolters when I'm facing Death Guard.
Yeah, the heavy bolter thing. It's
attacks.
That's what Death Guard do.
Yeah,
it's what we do. At the end of the day, though, it was. Yes, I won, but it feels more like a draw. It feels like. You've been hit. It feels like we're both pulling back from this site.
Yes.
I mean, I pulled my pants down and pooed on more areas than you did.
And we cleaned it up on a few bits.
And then you cleaned it up on a few bits and have pushed them back out of here. So for match playness, I won. But for narrative purposes, I feel like the sisters held out. And they're going to have to withdraw, and we're going to have to withdraw, and essentially the Death Guard didn't get to do what they wanted to do, which is not just pull down their pants, but also whittle all over the corners. You know, like when you walk into certain alleyways late at night on a Saturday and it smells of a certain thing. But that's what we wanted to do with those ruins and graffiti them, but we didn't get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it is a Death Guard victory. Let's say that.
Absolutely.
Anyway, thank you for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
All the way from Scotland.
Indeed.
That's not Scottish. No, that's what, Irish? What is that?
I don't know what it is because it sounds like Scottish to me. Oh, and sorry, YouTube. Just switch on the subtitles.
Yeah,
should have said that.
Can YouTube, does the subtitles work on YouTube for Scottish accents?
Probably not.
No. But thanks for coming all the way down. Shout out to all the Scottish boys in the Discord, your group and girls. Are there any girls in your group yet? Because there's quite a few girls in the Discord.
There is. That's what's nice about the Discord is the fact that it's a home for everybody.
At the last deployment zone day, I think there was a chunk of them there. Yeah, turning up, man. It's lovely. It is a home for everyone. So yeah, shout out the Scottish crew. And if you are in Scotland and you want to join in with their small coterie, then hit up DM Captain Smashy Pants.
Indeed. He'll
sort you out. I think that's it. So Battle Mat is from a company that went bust. The Rocky Terrain is from Gamemat.eu. They also make battle mats, by the way. So if you want battle mats and terrain, then look at Gamemat.eu. If you want more bespoke resin cast specialist stuff, then check out marchofwar.co.uk. If you'd like to support me, then consider subscribing to deploymentzone.tv. I mean, as you can see, we're growing now and there's more and more things happening in the community as well. There's the king of the next couple of tournaments are all the way down south. I don't know if you're coming down for them. They're not tournaments, they're events, meet and greets.
Yeah, I'm going to October's DZ Open Day.
Okay.
So, hello.
Hello.
See you then.
Okay.
Find you by the magic of YouTube.
Are you coming to Monkey's Wild West one?
Hopefully.
In Cardiff?
Yes.
You come in from Scotland through England to Wales?
Yeah.
Mind you, I guess that's 100 person. That's the largest ever event that we've done.
Exactly.
Again, not a tournament. There's King in the North happening, which you're helping to organise with Brap, but we're not allowed to talk about it yet.
No, we're not allowed to talk about it.
It's probably in January. Or can we say that?
I think so, yeah.
I think we can say it's probably in January. There's also a south one happening, because while there's one up north, there's one down south at the same time in January, around the same time. But I'm definitely not allowed. Anyway, there's lots of things happening in the deployment zone. If you are a member of the deployment zone already, thank you so much for your support. You are legend. We appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for feeding me. Happy wargaming.